Let's start with what's your background.
Cool. So, my name is Nuakai ARU. I am a filmmaker, a martial artist, and a world explorer. I'm basically a knowledge seeker. Grew up in the UK. My dad's Jamaican and my mum's British.
Wow.
Grew up in the end of the 70s, 80s, where intermixed relationships was a weird thing as well. And, you know, like, my life has been really a quest for like knowledge of self. Like, who am I? Who are we as humans in the 21st century? How do we understand our history and our culture from a personalized perspective rather than how we've been wrongly taught to understand ourselves? You know, what does it mean to be a person with melanin or without melanin? I don't even like using these terms of black and white anymore because I've been through a journey where I understand that these are just political terms. They're not actually relational terms to who we are as human beings. And, you know, those of us that are considered black, we're brown. And people that are considered white are pink and beige and also brown. So these are political terms.
This is going to go deep now. This told you, are you not ready for this, yeah? Yeah, some real intelligence coming up now. Go on.
So my journey really has been a lot about kind of like identity and culture, like who are we, and how do I perceive myself as a person of mixed heritage. So I went down lots of the wrong paths as a young man, trying to find myself, looking at what it is to be a black man as a child. You know, I lived in very mixed environments in my early years in North London, and then when my parents separated.
Wait. Did he just say North London?
Man said North London.
He said North London. Where in North London?
Turnpike Lane.
Oh my days, I'm from Tottenham.
North.
I'm from Tottenham, bro. You have to give me a spot there, right. You know. Sorry, guys, because we're in West and everybody seems that I need to be from Hammersmith or somewhere. People told me Alperton and I'm like, what?
I do live around here now, though. Actually, I'm in West now. I'm West. I've been in West for the last 25 years still. So
you made it out the hood, basically. No, because you know in North, that's how they see it. Like, you moved to West. Well, you're rich, yeah? You're like, no, I'm not.
No.
I live in Hammersmith, bro. I'm in Fulham. Like, Fulham is not, like, yeah. But yeah, no, carry on, bro.
And then I lived in the countryside a lot. So I went from being in a very multicultural environment to being in a very British environment where I was the only brown person. And so how I was perceived in school, in culture, I came up a lot of clashes around a lot of racism. I went to private school for a period of time because my grandparents and my mum was like, you know, we're just letting him be wild and free. We should probably give him some discipline. Why don't we send him to private school? So they sent me to a private school that was hella racist and, you know, challenging to survive. And so...
Do you feel like at that moment, sorry to cut you, do you feel like at that moment you was kind of like, that's what kind of put you in a category of like, you feel you're a bit alone, like when you're in 100%. Private school, like, I presumably feel like it comes across like you're saying you was the only, you know that saying, you're only black person in that school kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So was you treated like that? Do you felt like everyone treated you they acted towards you like that, and that kind of put you in that mental space basically?
100%.
To get you to do it. Because I know with Muaytai, I know one of my closest friends, like, it literally does Muaytai, innit? He loves it. And he's done Bali and he's done Thailand and that for like 6 weeks and all of that stuff, do you know what I mean? And I've been like, reading, and he's like, yo, you need to come. He'll break his knee, he'll break this one, he'll break that one, but you still see him going, and I'm like, bro, like, you're gonna die soon, innit? Don't do that, don't wanna lose you yet. We're only 36. But to him, he's like, no, but it's spiritual, and it's that one journey that he had when he went to Thailand and he come back, and I remember him saying to me, bro, like, I had the time of my life. Like, it was better than me going, he's Jamaican too, imagine. But it was like, yeah, it was better than me going to Jamaica, better than me going to Miami, better than me going here in New York, because I just felt like I was in tune. And he mentioned something about going to the top of the mountain or something like that. Or top of, is it mountain? Like with, what's those people called? The monks. Yeah, thank you. No, like he literally was with, he's like, yeah, like he met the monks. And he goes, he was the only black person in that group that met the monks right there. And I was like, how did that, like, how did you feel for 6 weeks, almost 2 months with these random people? So it's like, I feel like that's kind of the energy you're giving me about like when you was living in like the countryside and you was going to private school, because it's like you had to find yourself in a way, innit?
100%, man. And I think I grew up fighting. I was always against the curve, going against the stream. And so life was a lot of a fight as a young person. I got kicked out of private school, got kicked out of secondary school, got kicked out of all schools.
You was the typical black youth in that private school.
I got sent to like a referral unit school in the end. Hit the streets, spent some time trying to aspire to what all the rappers was teaching me about. You know, I was listening to, you know, your Method Man, your Redman, your Naughty by Nature, your NWA, you know, and I was just, you know, I got caught up just following this concept of black culture that I thought was like my identity. And having a poor education in the UK, you know, the street became my education. Like, I left home at 17, was living in the streets, was in the hostel system at 17, and kind of hard, went the wrong way, but a couple elders along the way kind of was like, my youth, you need to go and learn yourself, you know. I'm like, what do you mean I need to go and learn myself? Yeah, you need to go and learn your culture. Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean I need to go learn my culture, man? I know myself. What does he mean, know myself? I thought I know. And then obviously I didn't really know myself. I was trying to aspire to be something that was being shown to me in iconology and films and music, but that wasn't really me in my essence, right? And as I got to more and more challenging times, because of the chaotic life I was living, I began, you know, the universe, the ancestors began giving me warning signs and began giving me teaching opportunities. And, you know, there's lots more to this story and we've only got a short period of time, but basically I began to self-study. I began to investigate myself, you know, through studying, reading. And at 16, I got into martial arts. So I started, I did martial arts as a kid, but I got into doing Muay Thai at 16. And then that became part of a guiding line in my life. You know, it helped me gain discipline, it helped me gain more coordination, helped me face my own insecurities, my strengths and weaknesses, and strengthen myself as a character. And so alongside my own journey of knowledge of self-study, I began reading a lot of books on African history, or Jamaican history, and just exploring a more melanated perspective of the world, right? That included my understanding. And so for the last 20 plus years, I've been making films about African history and African culture, reflecting on looking at the world of who we are as human beings from a more broader perspective, to put things into context that eradicates the colonial perspective that we've all been raised in, right? A very whitewashed perspective. There's a very small perspective around being human. And I'm really interested in, like, what is the human story that embraces African history, Native American history, Asian history, East Asian history, Aborigine history, European history, that gives us a clearer understanding of global identity, right? And that became my sort of journey and quest. So I made a lot of films on African history. I'm not here to talk about that today, even though
that's what I was about to come
even
to
though
right
I am,
now,
but I just
because I was just letting you get through with it, but I was gonna ask you about. I was gonna lead to this basically because, like, you're author now.
Yeah, so I am. But basically, the reason I mentioned the film stuff I've done first, because as a filmmaker, my passion was research. I loved kind of like discovering this amazing tapestry of world history that was hidden. You know, so much indigenous wisdom, African history has been hidden for generations. So the more I found, the more I discovered, the more it excited me. And so I spent a long time doing research. So every film I made, I would always create a massive archive of research. But then I would make an interesting film of visuals with music that would be an easy way to digest the research I had done, right? And so I've always been writing, I've always been a storyteller. And, you know, the last couple years, during lockdown, I started working on a book that was called The Warrior in the Garden, that looked at my sort of personal philosophy around martial arts, personal development and consciousness. You know, like, who are we as spiritual, physical beings? And how do we master ourselves in this world that is multidimensional? And so I spent 4 years writing a book and then trying to get that connected to a publisher or a writing agent, I was getting tumbleweed.
Yeah,
So then I wrote 2 smaller books that, I was researching how to kind of go about it. So I wrote 2 small books that I was gonna aim to use as funnels to lead back to my bigger book. So I wrote 2 small books. My first book is called Achieving Success.
That's a small book.
Yeah, man. It's
How many pages?
Oh, man.
That's a lot of pages.
No, man. It's a small book. This one's small. Like, it's a little read. Right? It's about 90 pages. This one, right? Yeah, and this one is like 5 steps to create a meaningful career and a rewarding life. And this was really about kind of how are you living with meaning and purpose? Like, what are you doing that's helping you to connect to yourself? What is your loves? What's your passions? And then how to monetize that. Then from that, I was like, let me write another small book that's kind of like part of my passion around research, right? How to find truth in the information age. So this book, my next book was called Decoding Misinformation. Yeah. And that is really like, we live in a time of information. How do we discern the knowledge that's everywhere, right? How do we fact check? How do we cross-reference? How do we build a clear library of knowledge that you have tried and tested, rather than just opinion-based, or rather than, I heard someone say this, I think it's that.
Like, see it with your own,
we live in a time of so many lies, right? There's so much lies around perception. And now more than ever, right, with AI and any video, it's crazy. You can't believe anything you see now online, right? Yeah. So how do you fact check? How do you cross-reference? How do you follow the money? How do you build a knowledge base of truth that has been investigated, right? Yeah. And then even how do you then compartmentalize, okay, this is information, this is what could be, but I can't fact check it, I don't know if it's real. This is what I personally know through experience, tried and tested and encountered. Yeah. This is what I believe. Like, what I believe doesn't mean it's true, doesn't mean it's false, but it just means what you believe. So you put your energy into that, right? And you have a clear awareness of what you're informed in, what you believe and what you know. And you realize that's my library. And then how can I transform what I am informed in to what I know? And how can I verify what I believe that is beneficial to the truth, right? Because you can believe good things and bad things. It just gives you energy to do something, right? You can believe something good's gonna happen, or will relate to your faith. You can believe something bad could happen, and that relates to fear, right? Yeah. And how do you manage your connection to those things? So anyway, I wrote this book that kind of helps people really explore decoding misinformation. And then, on my journey of trying to get my book, The Warrior in the Garden, published, I finally got a connection to publishers. They were like, we really like your book. We were having a back and forth, good conversation. Then they were like, look, really sorry, because you've got so many philosophies in there, like you've got African philosophy, you've got Native American philosophy, you've got Asian philosophy, you've got modern science. We find multi-genres hard to sell for us personally. We specialize in East Asian philosophy. This is what this publisher said. And I'm like, well, look, I'm of mixed heritage. I think the world and indigenous cultures and indigenous wisdom crosses over so many lines. I want to present something that shows global consciousness and a connection to global consciousness. But they were like, look, we like your writing and we see that you've been doing Muay Thai. Would you be interested in writing a book about the spiritual dimensions of Muay Thai? So I was like, yeah, I would be. So they were like, well, look, here's our pitch document. Write 4 chapters, pitch your outline for the book, and we'll have some meetings around it. If we like it, we'll commission you to write it. So cut a long story short, they did that. So this is the book. I wrote The Essence of Muay Thai, A Warrior's Guide to Tradition and Its Spiritual Heart. And this was about a 2-year project to do this. This is actually a couple of the films I've made in the past.
Okay, so they're short films, because you said you're a filmmaker. Right?
Filmmaker, yeah. And these are my other couple books I've done. So this book is my first published book. So this just came out in October. This is crazy, because obviously as an independent filmmaker, especially making films on African history and culture and anti-colonial thought, you can imagine I've been really backed by the mainstream.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah, so like for me, I got introduced as the Muay Thai guy, and I'm like, I am the Muay Thai guy. I've been doing Muay Thai for 30 years now, right? This year is my 30th year doing Muay Thai.
Well done.
So it was such an honor to be able to do this book, because really I'm a revolutionary, a solutionary, a Pan-Africanist and somebody inspired by like global consciousness and raising consciousness. But martial arts has been like a real guiding pillar in my life around discipline, self-awareness, strength of character, facing my shadows, stepping into the unknown, and then, you know, standing up as a pillar in my family, in my community, and helping others. And I've been a teacher. I teach Muay Thai. I run a school just around the corner, actually. It's called Lionheart Muay Thai. It's based in Shepherd's Bush. And so for me, teaching other people how to build greater levels of courage, skills, practical self-defense, and understanding themselves both internally and externally is a great passion of mine. And that's gone hand in hand with my journey as a filmmaker, an adventurer, an activist. And so this book looks at the history and author, yeah, thank you. And this looks at the history of Muay Thai in Thailand. It looks at the emergence of the martial art in Thailand and how it's so interwoven into their spirituality. What's a mixture of the animistic culture. Animistic is like a expression of where everything is spiritual. You know, the trees have spirit, the plants. Like we live in an interconnected spiritual reality. And that culture comes from the original populations of Southeast Asia, which were called the Negritos, you know. So like the people that originally came from Africa, the first populations to spread into Asia, that are still there. There are still dark-skinned, melanated populations in Thailand who are the original people that were settled there. One tribe in Thailand are called the Mani, but you've got dark-skinned populations in Philippines, in Indonesia, all the way crossing down into Australia. And a lot of people aren't that aware of the dark-skinned populations of Asia that go back thousands of years. And so my book, we talk about that, but then we talk about how the Hindu culture had a massive influence and the Buddhist culture had an influence, and how this martial art, Muay Thai, in its early days originated as a protective tool, a fighting combative tool that was designed for the Siamese people to liberate themselves from the Khmer Empire. Now the Khmer Empire was a Cambodian empire that ruled Southeast Asia, and it was a very Hindu hierarchical culture. So like you had a god king, and then you had a real hierarchical class of nobles, and if you came under that, you were like submissive to that. And the Thais had been conquered by the Khmer Empire, and the Khmers had a really strong martial art system, but the Thais developed their own martial art system that is called Muay Thai. Well, the ancient term today is known as Muay Baran, what basically means ancient fighting, and it's the science of 8 limbs and 9 weapons. The 8 limbs are hands, elbows, knees, and kicks, and the 9th weapon is the head for headbutts. But really, the head is all about strategy and tactics, because as a fighting system, it's all chess. It's very much about strategy and tactics. And so the book conveys that, and then we go deep into the esoteric
all
practices.
Of this in the book?
Yeah, and we go
Don't
deep.
give them too much. Don't give them too much, because you lot need to buy the book. It's like, where's your classes? You said you do the classes.
Yeah, so I run a martial art academy. It's called Lionheart Muay Thai Academy. So you can find that on lionheartmuaythai.com. We're based in Shepherd's Bush. We have classes, kids classes on a Monday, but we've got classes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. I just came from a class now.
There you go.
And yeah, you can check out lots of this
so
information
hyped
on
up
the book.
Can you lot feel that energy? I was like, right, let me just let him say what he's saying.
But yeah, I've got lots to say, but I'm sorry, yeah, anyway. I'll probably overrun my time. But give thanks. Thank you for listening to me. Thanks for having me here.
No, it's all right, man. Listen, well, apart from the classes, you on socials where they can find you?
Yep, so we are on Instagram and TikTok under Lionheart Muay Thai Academy. As a filmmaker and explorer, you can find me online on Instagram at Nuakai.ARU, and I'm on LinkedIn as well, Facebook, Nuakai ARU.
Nuakai.
Nuakai.
I still say it wrong. Still say it, whatever.
Oh, you got it. No, get it. No. Nuakai. Get it.
Nuakai, you know, like.
You got it now. You got it. Nuakai. It's easy. Once you get it,
I feel like
right?
I'm in Muay Thai now. Nuakai.
Yeah, that's it.
Lim Sally.
My thing is this also, right? You know, I've got a European name, but I think it's important.
Oh
right?
my, you see,
I think it's important that you
can't have
we've had to learn English and European names, right?
You can't have
I think it's important that people learn cultural names
no.
and remember cultural names, right? So, like, and embrace each other's names and embrace, like, it's not hard to learn a new name, even if it's unfamiliar to you. It's important to embrace people's names rather than be Europeanized and have your name Europeanized. Like, so, give thanks and thank you very much for your time, for listening to me today.
Definitely, guys, give him a round of applause, please. Nuakai!